every non-white was rooting for conviction.
Right.
It was throughout the courthouse. I mean, it really was. I mean, I'd go through and I'd be like, hey, what's going on? Oh, I hope he goes down, right? Every white was, oh no, well, it's a not guilty. There's these, or it's a not a murder. These racial tensions are very palpable and real.
Yeah, they are.
They are very real. So let me ask you this: how does the attorney, or how have y'all experienced, or anyone, I mean, dealing with this type of media and this type of hype on such a nationally recognized case? How do you deal with that? I mean, you've had a number of pretty high-profile cases. How do you deal with the media in these kind of situations?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Denny's case was interesting because the first time around he was almost acquitted.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so everybody said, well, he can't get a fair trial in Harris County, and everything was, you know, everyone's crazy about it in the audience. It was a packed courtroom, and the jury almost walked him. I think once you get 12 in the box, I believe you're pretty much somewhat safe, meaning I've tried a lot of cases, and juries don't always go my way, but they usually get it right. They really do. And, you know, they usually can block out what's going on and try to get it right. But everything leading up to it is a circus. Mm-hmm. I don't think the DA's office did anything in this particular case that was wrong, but I just don't understand why law enforcement didn't come out and say, look, we have a person of interest.
Right.
That's different, right? This guy, this little activist, I don't know what his name is, the kind of short guy. He was on the Isaiah Factor with the lawyer. I don't know what the activist's name is.
Yeah, I can't.
This guy, he was the one banging his fists on the table, and this is, you know, racially motivated, and this is a hate crime, and so Isaiah tried to kind of corner him on it and say, well, what do you think now? And he would not apologize. He wouldn't back down. It was all these excuses and things. But I mean, it's just the society we live in now. And everyone, law enforcement is under pressure, I guess, to solve these things quickly. But at what cost? What would it have hurt? You know?
Well, but going back to your point about social media, Meredith, and the role it played, doesn't that tie into the pressure on law enforcement and the DA's office to solve these quickly? Because we live in a world where it's, you know, you get instant gratification, you have instant recognition, or something is instantly out there.
It ties to both the pressure that's put on law enforcement and the district attorney's office to solve it, and it also contributes to kind of the static of misinformation that law enforcement's dealing with when they're trying to investigate. There's a lot of people attempting their own sort of vigilante endeavors on identifying this person. Especially when you incentivize some sort of tip, it's going to take law enforcement longer to wade through that. Now, I mean, it's both a benefit and a burden, I suppose.
Let me ask you this. How do you reconcile the witness identification to the arrest? How does one do that?
Well, what do you mean? The fact that they ended up arresting someone completely different?
Yes.
Well, let me just say one thing before we move past the topic. I'll play devil's advocate for a moment. And I'm not a fan of the way this played out and how the misidentification and all that, but in a weird way, the silver lining is because of the hyperbole, because of the racial overtones and the fanfare and the craziness, they raised $100,000 worth of money to give out in rewards, etc., which may have led to the tips that led to potentially the correct killers. And I'm not going to even agree right now that those two necessarily are the correct killers, because I'm a defense attorney. Let's see how that plays out. And my God,
theories on that too.
The new lawyer, who's the lawyer for the new guy? Is it Lisa Andrews,
Lisa
I think?
Andrews, yeah.
I mean, I was waiting for someone to come in and go, I didn't do it, right? Because some white guy did it.
Well, not only that, not only that, but even the confession. Let's just assume they better hope that confession is airtight. One, but
on the first guy.
On the first guy.
Yeah.
But what if the first guy is? I mean, look, maybe it's not him, but maybe his lawyer correctly recognized, like, hey, dude, your way to avoid a capital murder conviction may be to cooperate and dump somebody else in the grease.
Don't be the trigger man.
Yeah, don't be the trigger man, kind of thing. And if you know, I mean, hey, that could happen.
If I'm Lisa Andrews, I'm
muddying the water on
I
that.
set this thing for trial, and I
Yes.
go in and I blame the first guy, and then I pull up the sketch and I say, what? They looked out the window. They saw the shooter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is not an easy case
No.
for the prosecution. This is extremely. This is like. I mean, I don't know how you get the toothpaste back in the tube on this one.
Right,
So,
Steve, the statement that you read earlier on the show, that is a pretty unambiguous statement of events.
right.
That nails them to a narrative.
Yeah.
I don't see how you get around that, not with the men that have been charged. It's going to be interesting to watch unfold.